Oh, yeah, another angel got its wings. I got some bad news. For those of you who are in Christianity who call obedience to the Ten Commandments works based salvation are in total heresy. Do I need to explain why? I'll tell you why. Because Christianity is not an exclusive club. Only in one respect is Christianity an exclusive club. Because works-based salvation is impossible. Because salvation is virtually guaranteed to humanity. Bad news, Christianity. Jesus declared grace on humanity long before the word was even uttered by the apostles concerning you, Christianity. Now, don't challenge me on this, because I'll do it. I'll let you know. You are not so exclusive. The vast majority of humanity is to be forgiven, which means it's the avenue to salvation. If you don't believe it, you don't read the Bible. I know you consider it as a dust collector with rules about not touching dust collectors. I guess that's why I'm here. John the Baptist is my forebearer. And let's talk about works for a second anyway. What are they? Obedience. It's impossible for obedience to be works. Not even rest is works. However, what is works? Obedience. It's obedience because Jesus said so. And here's something, you works-based salvation obsessed. Some information for you. And it's Jesus. And it's from the beginning of the New Testament and the end of the New Testament. Apparently you haven't read it. Let me repeat it for you. Matthew chapter 16, verse 27. For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels and reward everyone according to their works. Works. He uses the word works. In other words, their obedience. And why is that? It's because after salvation, it's not getting salvation, which is guaranteed. It's about after salvation. Your works. What you do in your works is about after salvation, because your salvation is guaranteed to humanity, much less you Christianity freaks. Let's go all the way to Revelation. Chapter 22, verse 12. This is at the very end of the Bible. You works-based salvation nerds. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give everyone according to his works shall be. Jesus talking works, while you, married to Paul, think faith alone. Well, that's right. Faith alone will get you in. But faith, not even faith, will still get you in. You know why? Because Jesus said so. See, there's an all humanity blanketing statement by Jesus. And Christianity falls into it because of all their sinning under grace. It's Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12. I better get this right. No. Yes. Matthew chapter 12, verse 31 and 32. What does he say? Unto men, meaning humanity, a host of all manner of sin will be forgiven. What does that mean? That means the avenue to salvation. Then he's talking humanity, much less Christianity. Get that straight. And guess what else? If you deny it, if you deny the forgiveness of God, it's blasphemy. That's verse 32. Now, what I'm telling you is corroborated. And I'm going to run by it real fast. Pay attention, write it down, re-listen. I just showed it to you in Matthew. Now, Mark 3:28. Mark 3:28. Luke 3:6. Luke 3:6. John 12:32. John 12:32. This is corroborated that humanity is the vast majority of humanity isn't evil enough to deserve what Satan gets. The forgiveness of God should be your focus. Not if you haven't been saved, you're going to go to hell. If Jesus says that the vast majority of humanity is to be forgiven, you better believe it, or he never knew you. You remember that? You ever heard that? There's another angel that's repeating Jesus on the gospel. Something you're supposed to do, Christianity. You're supposed to quote Jesus on the gospel or you're cursed. Do yourself a favor and do it on Worldwide Gospel Day, March 15th, and you'll have done your duty. Except you got to get the rest of Christianity to do it too. Now, works. What is the reward of works? Have you ever heard of a thing called the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven? What are kingdoms? They're hierarchy. Close to God, not close to God. Knights, nobles, teachers, leaders, down to street sweepers. The vast majority is going to get in, but they're going to be counted least. Just because they're being told that obedience is works-based salvation. Satan loves that. He hates that everybody's getting in, even humanity, faith or not, Christianity or not. But he loves Christianity being counted least while in the kingdom by no obedience. So because of an obsession of thinking that if they obey, that it's works-based the word salvation. Man, you're talking about a word that's overused in terms of what it doesn't mean. What is salvation? It's only one thing. The return of Jesus Christ. Go metaphor spiritualism on steroids yourself all you want. That's just the way it is. Now, I've just read Jesus. From the beginning of Matthew to the very end of Revelation. Jesus talking about works. It's talking about you, Christianity, obedience, your obedience, and also your obedience to repeating him on the one important gospel that causes his return. Why aren't preachers doing this? Why aren't preachers... There's another angel, got their wings. By preaching the one stale, boring, one-sentence gospel according to Jesus, not according to Paul. In fact, Paul's the one that said, if you don't quote Jesus, you're cursed. Man, I love that. I love that when he said, no other gospel. Because if the gospel is according to Christ, it can't be another gospel. It can only be according to Christ. And when Christ said what the gospel is, you got to believe it. And funny thing is, when Christ said to believe it, you should believe it. And that's what he said right after he declared the gospel. Believe it. Let me get this thing plugged in. Are we getting this straight, Christianity? Your works, your obedience get you counted closer, counted great in the kingdom of God. Stop thinking of it as works-based salvation, because your salvation is guaranteed, and people that aren't Christians are guaranteed. So what are you obsessed about it for? Your salvation is guaranteed. Stop worrying about obedience being works-based salvation, because your salvation is gotten. Now you got to get a higher place in the kingdom or counted least like Satan wants you. Because you're Christianity. You're the difference between humanity. Humanity gets in, but they're all counted least. Street sweepers, whatever. In the kingdom. Kingdoms are hierarchy. There's the king and then the serfs. The king and the knights and the nobles and the counts and all that. Where are you going to be as Christian? You're going to be counted least because, you're so worried that obeying the Ten Commandments is works-based. Get over that nonsense. God. Please. Worldwide Gospel Day, March 15th. Let's get him coming return. Let's get out of here. God bless you. Please stop obsessing works-based salvation. You already get your salvation. Think about your place in the kingdom. That's what Jesus is talking about in Matthew and Revelation.